Coach T podcast, and the NFL show is presented by Turner Sports Training, TST.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Hey. You know what time it is? Yeah. You know what time it is?
You are watching a master at work.
Some people are probably like, what time is it? You know what time it is.
Showtime.
This is the Coach T NFL show. We are back. Super excited, as always. Every week I get more and more pumped to hang with my homeboys, Kyle and Hicks. We're going to talk picks. We're going to talk NFL. We're going to talk all that is the NFL and professional football. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's get it, baby.
Yes, sir.
Talk to him.
First topic, all right, happened a few days ago, but for one of the big surprises for the 53-man rosters was the release of Cam Newton. Cam Newton was cut from the New England Patriots, and now the starting spot goes to Mac Jones. What are you guys' initial thoughts on, first, Cam Newton not making the initial 53, and then Mac Jones and his prospects for this year?
Well, y'all know I chose the Patriots to do well this year based off of Cam kind of getting that second run around and then having a actual camp to get ready and things like that. I think he still has athleticism. He was obviously a former MVP. He, has navigated this league for a while now. But our initial reaction was just kind of like, I assumed it was maybe a COVID issue or some type of issue. I would think that after bringing him back for a whole another year, but I guess technically he didn't. Now that he's cut before the season starts, he did bring him back, but not really. So I don't know. It's surprising to me, but I see that some people, like Colin Cowherd, for instance, he picked the Patriots to win 2 more games with Mac Jones as a starter. So go figure.
Yeah, man, I was shocked, to be honest. I mean, it really surprised me. He's just such a good athlete. I know he had a really down year. I'm not even real big on Cam Newton, but to be honest with you, just like he said it maybe a few years ago last season, he said there ain't 32 quarterbacks that's better than me, and I would agree with that. To me, I would agree. So the fact that this man does not have a job right now is really, really surprising. And to be honest, there's a lot of landing spots for him. My first gut feeling is like Houston, but it would not surprise me as well is that if he doesn't have a job this year.
See, that intrigues me. And you said it, Kyle. I also think, I actually tweeted this, I think that the Houston Texans would be perfect, an ideal situation for him. I don't know if you guys follow Warren Sharp, big NFL guy, does a lot of the knick-knack, a lot of the small stats that end up, being big stats in the big picture. And he has a phrase that he uses. He talks quarterback redundancy. That means that the starter and the backup are seemingly the same or similar players. They're not stark contrasts. So I think someone like Cam Newton in Houston, whether it's Tyrod Taylor or Deshaun Watson, if that ever happens, if he's a starter there, all 3 of those guys are somewhat vaguely similar. So I think if a team is going to pick up Cam Newton, I think it's best for them to be a team that is used to utilizing their quarterback in the run game, short passes, maybe some spacing concepts, things like that. I think also the Ravens would be a good move too, because you know who your quarterback is. Your starting quarterback is Lamar Jackson. If you need a backup, maybe Cam's the guy, but that also begs the question, is Cam willing to sacrifice and be the actual backup? I don't know. I don't think he's going to be a starter this year. He would have to ingratiate himself into a somewhat new offense. Obviously, he's been in the NFL for quite some time now, so I'm sure a lot of the verbiage and plays are similar. But I just think it's hard for him to be a starter right now, having to join a new team a week before the season actually begins. And again, I go back to, is he someone that is willing to say, hey, I may not be the starter this year, but let me work my tail off and be the best backup and best teammate I can be, a la Carmelo Anthony a few years ago? If he can do that, he's going to last long or longer. If not, then he's fighting an uphill battle.
Talk to him.
Next, obviously with Cam Newton gone, Mac Jones is the starter, as mentioned. So with Mac Jones being the new starter this year, Kyle, we'll begin with you. How do you think he fares in his rookie year?
Yeah, man. I was honestly not too big on Mac Jones out of college. For one of the big reasons that a lot of people say is Alabama's so good. I mean, they got draft picks. He was throwing the top 10 draft picks all around the board. So I thought it was really them making him look good. Saying that after preseason, after kind of just all these rumors I've been hearing, just the fact that he ended up and fell to the Patriots, I think he does really well, man. I think he'll do real well. I think he will not stink, as the great Pat McAfee, as I love to follow his show, said. I really don't think he's going to stink. I think he's going to be pretty good. He fits that offense really, really well. The similarities to Tom Brady are obviously all there when it comes to not only his football smarts and kind of how he plays, but even his physique. The famous draft walk, this goofy, kind of chubby white dude that's going to come in here and kind of tear it up. So personally, I think Mac Jones is going to have a really, really good rookie season, especially under, the great Bill Belichick.
That's my whole thing, is that he is going to be with Big Bill. So Bill knows what he's doing. And as much as it's ironic that, not even ironic, but, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl right after leaving the Patriots. So now it leaves Bill Belichick sitting around kind of like, well, was that all him or was that you? And even though he's had his other years of, being of excellence, like back when he was the defensive coordinator of the Giants in the 80s and all that type of stuff, but still, I think that he is a competitor at heart. He's probably the most competitive person in the NFL. The fact that they weren't in the question last year, I know, ate him up. So I think that Mac Jones, again, will have a good year just because he's with Bill. It's still the Patriots. It's still the Patriot way. And they're one of the few teams that it probably benefits that there's no one, everybody's counting them out. Like they for 20 years didn't have a lot of motivation. So now let's see what they can do.
Talk to him.
Next segment. This segment is presented by Bro Brothers Bourbon. Shout out to you guys. I'm going to go over a list of the new starting quarterbacks for new teams in 2021. These are guys that are former starters for other franchises, and now they have moved on. So with this list, I'm going to go through it. I want you guys to pick who performs better in week 1. You have Matt Stafford for the Rams, Teddy Bridgewater for the Broncos, Andy Dalton for the Bears, Sam Darnold for the Panthers, Tyrod Taylor for the Texans, Jameis Winston for the Saints, and Ryan Fitzpatrick for the Washington football team. Kyle, you go first.
All right, yeah. So out of these quarterbacks, I'm gonna pick my boy Matt Stafford. I've been heavy on him since he left the Lions. That was the cursed Lions have just almost destroyed his career. I think coming here, over to the Rams, he's got some good weapons. He's got a great defense, and I think he's just happy. I think he's overall happy there. He's throwing dimes. He threw for multiple 4,000 passing yards on the Detroit Lions. Okay, so what he's about to do on the Los Angeles Rams with Sean McVay behind him, that's gonna be who I think is gonna have this best week 1, Matt Stafford.
It's kind of, when I look at this list, the two that stand out to me are Jameis Winston and Fitzpatrick, just because Fitzpatrick, if you know anything about the history of him playing, he kills it in the first few weeks of the season every year. That's his MO.
Oh, yeah.
But Jameis Winston got his eyes fixed, and he's a bad boy too. Between the two, I guess I'll go with Jameis if I have to choose one.
You didn't seem too confident on that one.
I mean, it's a loose pick, but I'll ride with Jameis in the Saints.
Sam Darnold revenge. You want to talk about that?
Week one. Yeah, okay. I do like hearing that. I do like Sam Darnold, honestly. I think he had some real bad blood up in New York, and honestly, I don't think he's ever really been a bad quarterback. All right, I think he was just stuck under the Adam Gase train that obviously did not go anywhere. So honestly, it's hearing that Panthers are going Jets week 1. He's gonna come out. He's gonna ready. Wanted to prove basically what mistake they made. And yeah, I like Sam Darnold there.
Good call. I'm either gonna go with Tyrod Taylor because the Texans play the Jaguars at home, or I'm gonna go with, again, this is just week 1, or I'm gonna go with Teddy Bridgewater playing in New York against the Giants. Between those two, I feel much more comfortable with Teddy Bridgewater. Spoke about this last episode. If you haven't checked that out, by the way, what are you waiting on? I feel like the Broncos are a surprise team in 2021 easily. Where they lack, or at least they lacked last year, was at the quarterback spot. I talked about it. Bridgewater is going to be much better than Drew Lock. To me, it's clear that the Broncos are ready to move past Drew Lock. Quite frankly, I think even with a halfway decent to above average year for Teddy Bridgewater, I still think the Broncos are going to look to move on from him. So and I'll get to that point in a little bit. Teddy Bridgewater, his focus should be winning games and winning games early. I think he gets off to a hot start. The Broncos playing at the Giants, I just feel like that's going to be a game where there's a lot of points. Either team could win. So I think Teddy Bridgewater performs best week 1. I do want to elaborate on the point I just made, and I want you guys to note this. This is early September 2021. I feel like the Denver Broncos are one of those teams a year from now Aaron Rodgers could be signing to. I think that'd be an ideal situation where they have hopefully the defense to hold it, a lot like they did with Peyton Manning. They built everything around. They had the run game. They had the defensive game. They had everything you need. They had a couple receivers. They were good to go. All they needed was that quarterback. I think the Broncos are going to try to play their way into the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes.
That just makes me think that ever since Teddy Bridgewater's injury, he's kind of been overlooked. But if you remember, the last time he started, he won every game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true.
I just wonder if he comes out and wins 14 games this year, do they feel like they have their guy?
Yeah. Last time he was a full-time starter, you're saying?
When he started 5 games for the Saints, he won all 5.
Right. Because I know last year, obviously, he was with the Panthers. Either way.
Did he start for the Panthers last year? I thought.
I feel like he did because they didn't have any. Kyle Allen.
A couple
games.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Played for a while.
I know PJ Walker started a couple games for him, but that was COVID or injury. I mean, last year was tricky, so you almost can throw that out. But no, you're right. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater he's above 500 in his career. He's won games before. He was I don't know what he was drafted. He was first or second round draft pick at the quarterback spot. So, I mean, he has talent. He can play.
Some good, pretty decent Minnesota teams.
Yeah, for sure. Some teams that competed in the playoffs. So, okay, cool, man. That was good. I like that. A lot of, again, what's that? 8 quarterbacks that are in new starting spots. So, a lot of new blood, new juice. I like that, man. I feel like the NFL has had more movement over the last couple of years. Kind of in the same vein as the NBA, in terms of free agency and, getting players to wear different jerseys. I think that's kind of cool. I think that helps grow the game, especially for the youth.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with that. I think the league is really becoming a player-led league, just like the NBA, and I'm all for it, man. I'm all for the freedom for the players.
Do you guys think that the NFL will ever be able to implement, like the NBA, kind of an international like an international footprint, which it kind of does right now, has a little bit of a international footprint, but do you think it can ever develop a real heavy international footprint?
Kyle, I'll let you go first, but my quick answer is no. But Kyle, you can go first.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as I would want it to, I'm just not sure, to be honest. I mean, we still having the NFL, as big as it is getting super global. I mean, we have these international games that are going on, but I just don't think it's really going to compete with soccer really ever. I mean, it's been around for so long. I mean, it's way cheaper, compared to like buying equipment and things like that. You can't go over there and put on a helmet and pads, at any time. So I don't think it'll compete with soccer for a long, long time, but I would not put it out of the possibility.
See, to me, I think, and I agree with you, Kyle, I don't think it's ever going to be in the same stratosphere as soccer internationally, and it definitely will not be the same stratosphere as the NBA or basketball in general. Again, those sports are cheap. Basketball, if you can find 2 hoops, all you need is a bouncing ball, and you're good to go. Soccer, all you need is a ball that you can kick, and you don't even need 2 goals, really. You can just paint something on the wall to represent a goal, and you're good to go. So it's cheap games. If you're talking internationally growing, you need to be able to not only do well in the communities where they got a bunch of money and they're affluent areas, but also in the slums, also in the areas where, maybe third world countries or places where, they're not living as well. Soccer still thrives in those areas because, again, it's a cheaper game to play. I think where the NFL could exceed is if they think more of North America as a whole. And if you're talking Canada, I know there's a CFL, but there are a lot of, and it's much more easier, it's much more feasible. It'll be much more efficient, I guess you could even say, where if you need to recruit players or you need to go sign players, it would make more sense to have players that you can go see that live in Canada. Also, if you ever expand to a team in Canada, a la the Toronto Raptors of the NBA, then there's a chance where the commutes are easier, the traveling schedules are easier. It just makes a lot more sense for them to try to think more of that route as opposed to, hey, let's go across the pond and, try to make football big. I think it's too tough already.
It's interesting, don't you think, that it's funny that you said Canada, which I think, you putting that out there actually makes a lot of sense. That does make the most sense logically as far as getting players and having a team. But isn't it interesting that the NFL, I don't even know if they've ever held a game in Canada, but they almost annually have a game in Mexico.
Great point. Yeah.
Do you think they would have a team
go down south, huh?
In Mexico? That would be crazy.
I mean, yeah. If I'm thinking that, hey, they can go north, then why couldn't they go south? So I totally agree. Why not?
For the Tijuana Tigers than the Toronto Tigers.
Hey, you ever
I'm
been
telling
to
you
Tijuana?
right now. Many times.
I had a homeboy that lived near San Diego, and he used to tell me his experiences. I don't think I will ever go to Tijuana.
Yeah, when I lived in San Diego, I used to go. It was like, man, it was my backyard. So, yeah.
Dope. All right. Hey, that was good, man. I like when you guys ask questions and you get us thinking. I know that helps to get our audience thinking as well. The game is going to expand. It's too popular of a game. I will put a bow on this. I think the NFL is totally fine with just being the most dominant sport within the American culture. Like, to me, you own a, what movie was that? Concussion with Will Smith. I forgot the name of it. Maybe it's called Concussion. But long story short, the NFL owns a day of the week. They own Sunday. So when you own a day of the week, the Lord's Day, it's hard to have really any incentive to now step outside of yourself and try to grow your business more. Obviously, they got a lot more smart people than me, but I just feel like it's going to be hard. If you do it, they do have aspirations for that. Canada or Mexico. Simple.
Talk to him.
Next topic. We talked a little bit about this with the Cam Newton deal, but just overall, were you guys, or what are your biggest surprises when it comes to the initial rosters for the NFL season?
I just want it to be known. Okay, it's 2021. Todd Gurley, Devontae Smith, and Le'Veon Bell all do not play in the NFL anymore as of right now. That's crazy. Insane.
Crazy, man. Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
That blew me away. I was like, man, and maybe, I don't know if it's because I'm getting old and years are going by faster or whatever, but I was like, man, I feel like it was 2 seasons ago that, Todd Gurley was the number one running back on the game. And what I mean? I'm like, how dang, he's not even signed. Le'Veon Bell, now, of course, he did a whole bunch of other silly stuff, but he's not even signed. It's crazy.
Kyle, anything?
Yeah, so there's really one surprise that I had. Obviously, you guys, as you've been listening so far, you guys know I'm a huge Colts fan here. We got a receiver, all right? He just made the cut for the 53-man roster. His name is called Michael Strahan, all right? He is a D2 guy, all right? He is from the Bahamas. They are calling this dude Megatron, all right? Because he is tall, he's lengthy, big, he's fast, and he goes up and gets it. So I wouldn't say it's a surprise, but again, just being a D2 out of Charleston, I believe it was called, D2 prospect, and with him making it, I think he's a really good grab. Chris Ballard has been really, really well getting these APCUs, small school draft. So that was my big surprise, and it's a very happy surprise.
Dope, man. When I was actually going through the draft process myself, I trained with a player that was a D2 receiver. He played at Hillsdale College in Michigan, and he ended up playing, I would say, about 6 to 7 years in the NFL. His name is Andre Holmes. He played for the Raiders for a little bit. He was a pretty good player, but I'm always rooting for guys like that. I was a undrafted free agent that had that moniker, had that tag. It's an uphill battle for sure. They don't invest any money in you, and when they don't invest any money in you, it's pretty straightforward in terms of they don't think much of you. So when you're able to beat the odds, make the team, make the initial roster, hey, regardless of how long they actually keep you, you made it. So congratulations to anyone that made the initial rosters. Happy for you guys, rooting you on. And hey, that receiver you're talking about, Kyle, I'm gonna keep an eye out for him. Okay,
Sir.
Talk to him.
pick some winners, man. Let's have some fun. Okay, this next segment, this is presented by the December Recruiting Showcase, hosted by the Legacy Indiana. We will go through the week 1 matchups, and we're only going to go through, for now, the 1 p.m. early slate games. The rest of the slate we will go over next podcast, next show. So that means you got to stay tuned. Week 1 matchups will begin in Atlanta, where the Eagles face the Atlanta Falcons. Kyle, we'll begin with you. Who do you have in this game?
Well, yeah, I got Philly. All right, I got Philly. I'm a big believer in Jalen Hurts, man. He balls out, and that was really the main reason. I think Jalen Hurts is gonna have a great week 1, and yeah, I got Philly.
I'm going Philly too. Of course, I'm a Philly fan, but I think Hurts is actually gonna ball out. He's had a lot of all types of discourse this offseason. People trying to throw him off. I think he comes out with something to prove, chip on his shoulder, and then plus we got the Heisman winner. We'll see if he comes out and at least gets us a few touchdowns, get some action going. So I'm going with the Eagles.
Okay, so you guys are going with an unproven quarterback versus a veteran quarterback. The unproven quarterback is on the road against a new head coach that had the most efficient offense over the last 2 to 3 years for the Titans, who now is the Falcons coach. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. I think the Eagles are one of those teams where I don't know what their over-under is, but they're going under. I think they'll maybe win 7 games this year, looking like a 7-10 because there's 17 games this year. So they'll be below 500. This is one of their early losses in the year. Give me Matt Ryan. Give me Arthur Smith, the new head coach for the Falcons. Give me Calvin Ridley, who's one of my stock-up guys. He's going to be all-pro. Give me Kyle Pitts, who I said for weeks now that he's going to be all-pro as a rookie. Give me all those cats, man, and I'm taking the Falcons at home. Easy. All right, next game will be Pittsburgh at Buffalo. We'll start with you, Kyle, again. Who do you have?
Yeah, so I love Josh Allen. I love Buffalo. I think Buffalo is supposed to win this game. And that's why I'm going to go Pittsburgh. I think Big Ben always does. He's a good quarterback, all right? He does ball out. He just can't stay healthy. I don't think he's to my knowledge, he hasn't had any problems in week 1. It's typically week 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh just because I think Big Ben's going to be there for the first few weeks.
I think that Big Ben is not going to be there for the first few weeks. I think it sounds crazy, but
Really?
Yeah, because they went 11-0 last year. I could see them losing like the first 3 this year. I know that's crazy. I could just see him like in just such a juxtaposition. He'll just drop the first 3 this year and finish up strong to everybody's chagrin almost, because I don't know that people don't want him to succeed, but I feel like he was washed up last year, but he still just keeps coming back for more. And especially in this first game, it's going to be when he probably has more juice than he has in any other game. So, but Josh Allen will probably come out and still put on the show. But I think I'm going to go Buffalo.
I'm with you, John. I'm going Buffalo here. This is another easy pick for me. Where the Buffalo Bills struggled last year was in the pass defense, especially against a long pass. Luckily enough, in this game, they're going against Ben Roethlisberger, who had the lowest percentage of deep balls last year, threw for the lowest amount of yards per attempt last year. He's all dink and dump. Now, when they went dink and dump, they have enough playmakers for those guys to make plays, so you always have to worry about that. But looking at some stats I pulled, I will say, to Pittsburgh credit, they're 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games playing on the road in Buffalo. But Buffalo is 5-0. Dating back to last year at home in their last 5 home games. And they're 8-1 straight up in their last 9 games. Again, all those games were last year, but this team is, to me, the Buffalo Bills, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with early in the season, just like last season. Their coach is phenomenal. Josh Allen, we can rave about him all day. I just feel like it's going to be a close game regardless, and I'd rather have the guy that can make the big play, that can throw the ball more than 8 yards, and I'm going with Josh Allen on that. So I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. Next matchup, Minnesota at Cincinnati. Who do you guys have? Kyle.
Yes, so I am actually going to go Cincinnati on this one. As crazy as that might sound too. The reason for it, as you guys know, I'm a defensive coach. I love defense. I played there, high school, college, all that. So I love trends. And if you actually do the research, since 1995, every time these guys have played each other, every other year, the result has changed. Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So you know what? We got Bengals with the win next.
I love it. I could see them pulling off an early season, quote unquote, upset, if you even want to call it that. But to me, these teams are pretty even matched. So I like the Bengals at home.
I'm gonna go with the Vikings. I don't know how many game openers the Bengals have won in the last 10 years. I should have pulled that stat. Or season openers. I really honestly wonder how many times the Bengals have won their season opener. It can't be too many times. Kirk Cousins is a real on and off type of quarterback. He almost exclusively wins when he doesn't need to. He kinda, when it's on the line, it's not going to be there. But when he's just coming out to play ball, it's like he is in his head or something like that. And this is the type of game where he comes out and throws for 300 yards, 3-4 touchdowns. We're like, what the? Why? How is he doing that? Because it doesn't matter. So I'm going Vikings.
What I'm seeing right now too, real quick, I can't see openers or anything, but 2015 they started 8-0, dude.
That was a long time ago.
It was, but hey, it's under 10 years, so
Yeah,
it's not real.
Yeah, I mean, they were a strong team. When you talk about Andy Dalton, I know he's not the greatest, but they had him, they had AJ Green, they had Gio Bernard. They also had, they always had a couple running backs. I mean, for the longest of time, they've always had a running back, dating back to what's my guy's name? Gosh, he's slipping me, man. But they've always had a couple running backs that were pretty good. So, okay, so in this matchup, I'm going to keep it simple, guys. I am going to join Hicks on this. I think the Minnesota Vikings, another team that I picked as a sleeper team this year. The Vikings have the better defense. They have the better offense. And most importantly, they can actually protect their quarterback, unlike the Cincinnati Bengals. And Joe Burrow's coming off of an ACL injury. Is he going to be 100%? Who knows? So with all that being said, any chance you get a chance to have Dalvin Cook in the backfield, you can get him the ball whenever you need to, and then you can play action that and go to Adam Thielen or Justin Jefferson. I don't think the Bengals have really any shot in this. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings in that matchup. Next matchup, 49ers versus the Detroit Lions, my Detroit Lions. Rawr. Kyle, who do you have?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna go San Fran. I think when they're healthy, they're just a phenomenal team. They just went to I can't remember which championship 2 years ago. Last year they obviously had all those injuries. I'm gonna go San Fran. As much as I love MCDC Dan Campbell, I think he is going to be a great coach. To be honest, I think if anyone is gonna get the Detroit up and coming, I think it'll be him. But it ain't gonna be this first week. San Fran.
I'm going to go with the 49ers, of course, too. But, Detroit just don't have enough power. This year ain't going to be their year.
What are you talking about? I just
don't feel like they got enough power. They don't. And not only that, Jared Goff getting a whole new system. And I want him to succeed really, really bad. I think he can look better with way less success than Matt Stafford can. Matt Stafford has to me, almost win the Super Bowl to look like a successful deal. But it's an uphill battle for the Lions. And 49ers, they're looking good. Trey Lance might get in there. And if he gets in, it's probably going to be a show. So I'm going with the Niners.
Whatever you guys say, man. I will say that the 49ers are 10-1 straight up in the last 11 games when playing the Detroit Lions. They're also 12-5 straight up in the last 17 games on the road. With all that being said, I'm stupidly going with my Detroit Lions. Like, that's my team. If you telling me they're playing any game, I think they're beating whoever they are going against. This would be an opportunity for a nice little early season, quote unquote, upset. New coach, maybe you get new energy. Maybe you do get that early season upset. So I'm going with the Lions. My best bet here, or what I'm hopeful I can bank on, is the fact that, maybe the quarterbacks are a little shaky for the 49ers. Maybe I know Trey Lance has a small injury right now, but which is being evaluated. But I think overall, if he gets a chance to play, maybe those guys, maybe it doesn't work out. We have a 2-quarterback system. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I just feel like the Lions can compete. It is in Detroit. Hopefully we get a little bit of momentum to start the season. I don't know. I'm going with my Lions. So that's that. I'm a homer. So be it. All right, next game. We're going to go with the Arizona Cardinals at the Tennessee Titans. Kyle.
Yeah, this one was tough, man. When I was looking at this, I mean, I stared at it for quite some time. I think Tennessee. I think just because of Derrick Henry, man, he's a hoss. Now, saying that, Arizona, they got a really, really good defense, especially with the addition of J.J. Watt. I said a couple of episodes ago, they're my up-and-coming surprise team. I still think they're going to make the playoffs. But just for this week 1, I mean, I think your run game is always going to win. Always going to win your games, especially when you got the rushing leader Derrick Henry. So I got Tennessee.
I think that Tennessee is obviously going to be a Super Bowl contender. That's not even a question. But I feel like the first 4 weeks of NFL are always you can't tell nothing. You don't know what like, even though we picking the games week 1, 2, 3, 4, by the 4th week we like who's good. I have no idea. I don't know nothing. So
great point.
This is the you remember, you guys both coach high school football, right? In high school football, sometimes the best team don't win. Like, sometimes the best team loses because they were thinking about another team, and they really didn't even come to play today. Like and that's
the dreaded look ahead. The dreaded look
ahead. That doesn't happen to professionals a lot, but it does sometimes. And I'm going with the Cardinals. I feel like they're going to have a lot of power, and it's one of those things where we can't gauge how much power they're actually going to have because we haven't seen it all. But it's going to be a loaded weapon. And just when the thing comes out, it might hit the Titans harder than what they were anticipating. I'm going to go Cardinals.
I like that, Hicks. I am actually going to lean your way. I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this matchup. I do have the Tennessee Titans as another one of my surprise teams. I do feel like the Tennessee Titans will make it to the Super Bowl. Early season, though, I think the Arizona Cardinals will catch them in a really nice spot. Again, we mentioned that Arthur Smith is a new head coach for the Falcons. He was the former offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. He has left. Now you still have Julio, you have A.J. Brown, you have Tannehill, you have Derrick Henry. So you have playmakers, of course. I just think the Arizona Cardinals can match playmaker for playmaker, and I think the Arizona Cardinals have a little bit of a better defensive mindset as opposed to the Titans, at least early season. So I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals in that matchup. Next game, Seahawks, Colts. Who do you guys have?
Yes, sir. You already know. You guys can probably already decide this or guess this, but I'm going with my Colts. We haven't lost to Seattle in Lucas Oil at home since 1997, even though last year they destroyed us like 46-18, something like that. But I'm going to be a homer as well, and I'm going to go my Colts.
I do like the Colts when they play at home, but I'm gonna go Seahawks. I think Colts have a good game. Wentz, he's kind of we'll see what he does. He's still gonna be in new place, new time zone, I said new time zone, but just everything. He's just gonna be in a new place, doing new stuff, new plays, and everything. So I'm gonna have to go Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going Seahawks too. The Colts, however, are 7-2 straight up in their last 9 games at home. So they're a pretty strong home team in the Dome. I almost want to say the RCA Dome, but I know it's not called that anymore. What is it called, Kyle?
Lucas Oil.
Lucas Oil, yes.
Yeah.
No, way back it was a Hoosier Dome.
It was a Hoosier Dome, then it was a RCA Dome, and now it's the Lucas Oil. Yeah, so Indianapolis is a strong home team, clearly, but with Carson Wentz missing so much time early season, I think I would just rather bank on Russell Wilson and all their playmakers. And that's, again, the team that I have, the Tennessee Titans, playing in the Super Bowl are the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going with Seattle early over Indianapolis in week 1. All right, 3 more games. We have the LA Chargers versus the Washington football team. Kyle, who do you have?
LA Chargers. I think Washington, I think they will, honestly. They're still my team in the NFC East to make the playoffs. But they're not going to make the playoffs with a good record, as always, So I got Los Angeles. Justin Herbert, it's going to be his first time actually having an entire offseason as being the guy. I think he's going to come back and just blow everyone away with how much he has improved. So I'm going to go Chargers.
Now, like I said, if you look at Fitzpatrick at the beginning of the season, every year, he put somebody's chain on, or he put sunglasses on in the locker room, or he's doing some type of crazy stuff because he's throwing for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. And now he's got McLaughlin, who, feels like he got slighted. He's got a good defense that's going to give him a lot of chances on the field. He's got, man, I'm going to go Washington football team. They're about to come out and rock'em sock'em robot real quick. And Chargers will be good, but this will be Washington showing their muscle.
I'm going to go with the Washington football team in this matchup. The reason being, I do think the LA Chargers are the better team, but I think early on, week 1, the home teams are normally pretty strong. And if they're not strong in week 1 and they're back home week 2, start to lean towards those guys in week 2. But speaking on week 1, I just think the Washington football team has enough to slow down the LA Chargers. I do think the Chargers will have better defense. So this, to me, seems like a very low scoring affair. Fitzmagic, I don't know what he'll bring you, but I think if he does give you something, it's early in the year versus a second-year quarterback. So I have the Washington football team winning this matchup at home in week 1. All right, next matchup, second to last matchup. We have the Jets versus the Carolina Panthers. Kyle, who do you have?
Yeah, so I basically said it earlier in the podcast. I'm gonna go Carolina. It is, as we saw, it is a revenge comeback games for Sam Darnold. Like I said, it's also home. We're in North Carolina, so just based off of that, and again, the Jets I think are a lot more than a quarterback away from being a good football team. So I'm gonna go Carolina.
I am also gonna go Carolina because the Jets, and it's the Jets, and it's the Jets. And the 2 games that they win this year will be in the last 4 weeks of the season. They'll probably be against somebody good for some stupid reason. Sometimes they do that, but yeah, they're not going to be any good this year.
Man, you know what? I don't think you guys give enough credit to the Jets. Yeah, they are much more than a quarterback away, but have you guys seen that quarterback? He's pretty darn good, man. I was watching a couple of YouTube highlights. People say, hey, he has an arm of Aaron Rodgers. I laughed at it, but then I looked at him. I said, they may be on to something with this one. He's talented, man. We'll really,
see what happens
really,
when
really talented.
When he gets outside of the WAC conference.
That's true. NFL defenses. That's true. But in this matchup, I'm going to join suit with you guys. I'm going to follow suit with you guys. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. I think Sam Darnold has a lot to prove. Who said it earlier? This is a revenge game, and I think a lot of the Carolina Panthers players will have that same type of attitude. Like, hey, let's go win this for Sam Darnold, right? I'm sure a couple of those guys have been in the situation where they've been traded or cut from a team. So when they're able to help another guy really get a revenge on his former team, I think they do it. Carolina at home. All right, last matchup before we wrap this up. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans. Kyle, who do you have?
Yeah, I'm gonna call this thing the toilet bowl. All right, because these are 2 bad teams. All right, but
yeah, we saved the worst for last. We saved the worst for last.
Exactly. But I'm gonna go Jacksonville. Houston, they got again Tyrod Taylor. Maybe they signed Cam Newton real quick, like we just talked about. But they don't have a team, man. Trevor Lawrence, #1 overall pick. He's gonna ball. I think he's gonna carry this team. I think this is a multiple touchdown dub for Jacksonville.
Trevor Lawrence goes for 350. 4 touchdowns. Wins it.
I love it. Okay. I'm going to go with, let me check some of these stats. This is a toilet bowl. Jeez Louise. All right. So now a lot of these stats do not mean much. Houston is 5-0 straight up in the last 5 games when playing against Jacksonville. Houston is also 6-1 in the last 7 games when playing at home against Jacksonville. A lot of those games are with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. They'll have Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. And I'm actually going to go with the Jaguars here. I do think that Urban Meyer made the correct choice of trading away Minshew. You have a #1 quarterback. You're going to have to ride him sooner than later. So just started early. I just feel like a lot of rookie quarterbacks, especially recently, they have done really, really well in their first couple weeks. then things start to even out a little bit. But I feel like Trevor Lawrence going to have an early boom in the season, and that comes in the earlier weeks. So give me week 1 against the Texans, who couldn't stop a nosebleed last year. So give me the Jacksonville Jaguars in that matchup.
Would it be unsportsmanlike for me to switch my pick?
No, you can.
Because I just thought of something, and the only reason we know about Justin Herbert is because Tyrod Taylor went to go get a shot last year and they punctured his lung. But their coach was having him start over Justin Herbert. And Tyrod Taylor has had successful football seasons. So, and let's say that nothing went wrong with Deshaun Watson, we'd be looking at the Texans being a decent team this year. So maybe Tyrod surprises everybody. This is literally just a flip of the coin. Maybe he surprises everybody, comes out as a very professional, still athletic, very able quarterback on a good team that was already set to do well. And he shocks the nation and makes everybody forget about Deshaun Watson.
Well, good, man. Hey, we will not have to wait long. NFL season starts next week. I'm excited. I got a big smile on my face, man. I feel like every night I'm just counting down the hours until we can watch some NFL football on Sunday. So I'm good if you guys are good, man. Wonderful show again. I know the fans are going to be happy about this. You guys want to say anything? Any final words?
Man, I just want to say appreciate you listeners out there. If you guys can do us a favor, just subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, boost us up a little bit on the charts. And can't wait to get back next week and talk about week 1.
Same for me here. I'm ready to talk some football. Let's go Eagles, and let's do it.
All right, and I want you guys to look forward to this. A little teaser. We will complete the week 1 slate on next episode's show. So you guys look forward to that. We're going to talk about the afternoon games and then get into the night games and that Monday night game, which I'm really excited about. So from us to you, this is me, Coach T. Keep supporting us. Keep loving us. And we'll keep giving you that funk. Peace.